turn your palms out. Apologies to Vicky. And lift your arms up. Pull your abdomen back. Lift your wrist up. As you lift your wrist up, the sides of your torso lift up. Bring your hands back in and down. Change the interlock. Turn your palms out. Lift your arms up. So here I'm not lifting up. And then I'm lifting my arms higher and higher. So as I do this, I feel lift come to the side ribs. I also feel a little bit narrowing of the waist. So maybe I'll use this for the next picture somebody takes of me. I'll just lift my arms up higher and higher. And bring your arms back in and down. Interlock from behind. Place your knuckles on your sacrum arm. Take your elbows back. And then, as you're able, don't lose anything in the upper arm and just start to straighten the lower arm. Keep your neck soft. Edge across the front of your belly. Bring your hands back to your sacrum. Change the interlock. Roll your shoulders back. Take your elbows back. And then start to straighten your arms. Release your hands, rotate your shoulders. Come over to your hands and knees. Spread your palms. Tuck your toes under, lift your hips up. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Press your thighs back. Press the webbing down of the area between your thumb and your first finger. Press through your fingertips. Lift your hips as high as possible. So come onto your toes. Lift your hips high, lift the backs of your thighs up. And then take your heels back, keeping that height in the hips. Bend your knees, rest back into child's pose. The knees apart, toes together. You want your torso to fit between your thighs, but not have extra room. All right. Let's see. There we go. For the next one, you can see how my hands are pointed. So normally we do downward dog like this. This time you're going to turn your hands out and the thumb and index finger are going to push against the wall. So I like to if you don't have a wall nearby, you can just turn your hands out and keep them wide. So you can do it with just your hands turned out and kept wide, but it helps to press into something. So the index fingers at the wall, the thumbs at the wall, hands are almost as wide as the mat. And come into Ardha Chandrasana. Now, so this makes it a little easier on the shoulders. A little harder to press down through the webbing that I was talking about earlier between the thumb and first finger. But you're able to press the thumb and first finger down. Then lift your heels. Move your thighs back. Lift your buttocks up, move your thighs back, lift your quadriceps, and then keep that work in your legs and lower your heels toward the ground. Yeah. All right, come down. So what the turning out of the hands does is it gives you external rotation in the arms. So someday, I think I mentioned this, I'm going to wear lighter colors so I'm easier to see, but I don't really have too many light colors. But sometimes when we turn the arms in, this is turning the arms in, this is internal rotation, it can get all squished up right here. So by turning the hands out, this turns the upper arm out, even though you can do that with the hands facing forward, and it keeps you from being squished in the neck. So see if you can remember the lesson of this back into regular downward facing dog. So one more dog for right now. So turn your upper arms out. You can even have the eye of the elbow facing forward. It will turn back a little bit, but this will help you, the turn comes from the shoulder, but it's easier to visualize with the inner elbow. So turn out here, and then try to keep the turn in your shoulder even as your elbows start to face each other. And go ahead and come up. Straighten your legs by pressing your lower thigh back. So the area right above the knee, push that back. Not below the knee, but above the knee. All right, bring your hands towards your feet. Walk your hands back and fold forward, Uttanasana. So press the area right above your knees back to straighten your legs. Let your head hang. So the strength of your legs keeps supports is the word I was looking for, your upper body. Place your hands on your hips, elbows to the ceiling. Inhale, come all the way up. All right, we haven't done this in a while. Here near Austin, Texas, it's fairly cool this morning. So let's warm it up. So stand at the front of your mat for a little Surya Namaskar. Actually, I'll face this way. Sun salutation. Stand Tadasana. Inhale, lift your arms up. Oh, too close to the wall. Exhale, fold forward. Uttanasana. Bend your knees. Step your right leg back into a lunge. Roll your right thigh in. Then step your left leg back into downward facing dog. Come forward to plank. Lift your thighs away from the floor. Then through to Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, upward facing dog. Keep your thighs moving away from the floor. Yeah. Then lift your hips, downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up. Wish it forward between your hands and then bring it forward between your hands. Roll your left thigh in. Bring your left foot forward to meet your right. Uttanasana, fold forward. Inhale, lift up. Exhale. Back to Tadasana. All right. Inhale, lift up. Lift your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, extend your chest forward. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees. Step your right or left foot back into a lunge. Roll your left thigh in. Descend your hips. Stretch your back leg. Step your right leg back into downward facing dog. Come forward to a plank. Push your hands into the floor, lift your hips. Now, come into Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, upward facing dog. Lift through your hips, downward facing dog. Lift your left leg up and back. Swing it forward between your hands as well as you can. Or just pull it forward. Roll your right thigh in. Descend your hips. Put the weight into your left foot. Bring your right foot forward. Inhale, come up. Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Tadasana. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Upward hands. Exhale, Uttanasana. Forward fold. Inhale, extend your chest forward. Ardha Uttanasana. Half Uttanasana. Exhale, back to Uttanasana. Bend your knees. Step your right leg back. Come into a deep lunge. And you're trying to get the back leg, thigh stretched. Then, spin your right heel to the floor. Keep your left knee bent at this angle. Lift your torso, come up into Virabhadrasana 1. Warrior 1. Stretch your back leg. Bring your hands down either side of your left foot. Lift your right heel, step back, downward facing dog. Come forward to plank. Bend your elbows slightly. And then through to Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Yeah, upward dog. Lift your hips, downward dog. Lift your right leg up. Swing it through. Descend your hips. Spin your back heel to the floor, your left foot. Keep your hips low. Lift your torso up. Virabhadrasana 1. Bring your hands down to the side of your front foot. Lift your back heel. Step forward, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Upward hands. Exhale, Tadasana. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees, take your left leg back. Sit deeply into your lunge. Spin your left heel to the floor. Keep your right hip down, lift your torso up, Virabhadrasana 1. That is the extent of my Spanish, right there. Bring your hands down, either side of the front foot. Lift your back heel. Step your right foot back. Come forward to a plank. Bend your elbows slightly. And then Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, upward facing dog. Lift your hips. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Lift your left leg up. Yes, it's the left leg. Yes, okay. Swing it forward. Descend your hips. Spin your right heel to the ground. Keep your right leg straight. Keep your left hip down. Lift your torso up. Virabhadrasana. Virabhadrasana Eka. Never called that. Don't know why. Bring your hands down. Eka means 1. Lift your back heel. Step forward. Uttanasana. Inhale. Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Tadasana. One more set. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Bend your knees, Utkatasana. Partly feet together. Husband's probably wondering what's going on with all this jumping in front of the top of his office. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, extend your torso. Exhale, come down. Bend your knees, take your right leg back. Spin your right heel to the floor. Descend your hips. Lift your torso. Take your arms up. Virabhadrasana A. Not like a Canadian. Virabhadrasana A, but A is in the letter. I'll entertain myself. Bring your hands down to the side of the front foot. Lift your back heel. Step your left leg back. Come forward, plank. All right, so you're either going to go with bent elbows just for a moment, or come down to Chaturanga Dandasana and up through Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Lift your right leg up. Bring it forward. Spin your left leg to the left heel to the ground. Descend your right hip. Lift your torso, lift your arms. Virabhadrasana 1. Bring your hands down to the side of your front foot. Step your left leg forward. Uttanasana. Bend your knees deeply. Lift your arms up. Utkatasana. Stand all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana, Tadasana. Last one. Lift your arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Bend your knees, Utkatasana. Fold forward, Uttanasana. Extend your chest forward and fold. Bend your knees, take your left leg back. Spin your left heel to the floor. Keep your hips low, lift your chest, take your arms up. Bring your hands down to the side of the front foot, lift your back heel, step your right leg back. Come forward, plank, and then either bend elbow or full chaturanga. And then Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. And Adho Mukha Svanasana. Lift the left leg up. Bring it forward. Spin the right heel down. Descend the left hip. Keep the right leg straight. Lift your chest. Take your arms overhead. Bring your hands down either side of the front foot. Lift your back heel. Step your leg forward. Join your legs if they weren't already joined. Bend your knees deeply. Lift your chest. Extend your arms. Utkatasana. Straighten your legs. Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale. Tadasana. All right, you're warm. I got a little bit of sweat going. All right, take your legs wide for Prasarada Paragasana. Press through your outer feet. Roll your shoulders back, hands on your hips. Fold forward. Bring your hands to the ground. Lift the backs of your thighs up. And then walk your hands back, lower your head towards the floor. Have your elbows directly over your wrist. And the arms, the forearm and the upper arm making a right angle. Move your shoulders away from your ears. So let's see. So the shoulders can come down towards the ears or away from the ears. Move them away from the ears towards the ceiling. Walk your hands forward, lift your chest. Place your hands on your hips and come all the way up. Step your feet together. All right, so today you will either do Shirshasana, headstand, or headstand prep. So headstand prep looks like a downward dog, except the elbows are on the floor. The elbows are directly under the shoulders. Hands are interlocked. Wrists are pressed down. This is downward dog prep, and you need to rest from time to time in this one. Headstand. The head goes into the hands. And you lift one leg, and then the other. Shoulders move away from the ears. And your forearms press into the mat. So pick something you're going to do and proceed. Yep, if you're in the prep, you can lift one leg and then the other. We're going to be doing some more of that. All right, with the hands interlocked, whether you're in headstand or headstand prep, have your fingers relaxed. So, yes, that's better. Correct. So, I've heard that it's like you're just having your hands in your lap, listening to somebody talk. So it's not like you're gripping for dear life. Remember, especially those doing the prep, it's a little easier to switch. When you come down to rest, change the interlock of your fingers. Good. Because if you get used to it now, it's much easier to get used to it later. All right, Julia, bend your knees a little bit and move your hips away from the wall. That's good. All right, it's looking better, Bob. Take your ribs a little bit further back towards the wall, your lower ribs. It looks very comfortable, Marcia. Yeah. All right, everyone come down and rest. So rest in child's pose in whatever position you were in before. All right, and then sit up. We're going to do dog split at the wall. So we did a lot of dog splitting in the Namaste, the sun salutation, but now we're going to do it statically. So one leg up the wall, and the temptation here is to turn the hips out. Well, there's a couple temptations. That's one of the temptations. So you have to turn to face the floor. The temptation is especially the top leg. And that's the one we're going to be focusing on because we're going into back bends. So really focus, if you need to bend the bottom leg because your hamstrings are tight, I'm not going to worry about that, but keep your top leg straight. And the closer you are to the wall, the more intense it is in the top leg. The closer you are to the leg, the bottom leg, the more intense it is to the back leg. So this is less intense than this, all right? So lift, so come into downward dog and lift one leg up the wall. Doesn't matter which one. Yeah, if you're too close to the wall, you won't be able to straighten both legs. If there's something on your wall, then you won't be able to do it either. All right. And then you can move closer or further away from the wall to make this more intense, more accessible. This will also tire your arms out, especially if you're not too much of a forward bender. Good. Switch sides. So you can rest your arms in between or not. You could also, if you want to take the weight out of your arms, you could put your hands on blocks. Or you could, Marcia, you could move your bottom, you're flexible enough, you could move your bottom leg forward. That will take some of the weight out of your arms. Because then it's more like Uttanasana and less like down dog. It makes it harder on the top leg though. All right, come down. All right, so get some, at least one brick, one block, just for support. Oh, and many of you know that I don't need padding for much. I have it built in, but not everyone has padding built in. We're gonna do, I think heard this called King Arthur stretch one time, meaning the Knight of the Round Table, but not the flower. Never thought of that. All right, but one leg's up the wall, like in Virasana, and the other leg's forward, like Virabhadrasana 1. And I'm going to take some blocks for my hands like this, just to support my weight. So get this far, and you may want a blanket under your knee. Like the other pose, it's tempting to turn the hips. So you kind of shift your hips towards the front leg side. So take the front leg side hip back towards the wall. And if you're already feeling a stretch, you can stay here. If you're not feeling a stretch, if you have really flexible quads, you can walk back and even come up. If you're pushing your hips towards the wall like Virasana, the pose we started with. And then this leg, move it back a little bit, is like Virabhadrasana 1. They're both hero poses. So Virabhadra was a hero, Virasana is hero. All right, now we're going to stretch in a different way. So lean your hips forward. Descend your hips down. So the front leg, let me show you the front leg, actually goes beyond that 90-degree angle. So it's not up here. You're actually leaning forward, however far that is, but try to keep your chest a little bit up. It doesn't have to be all the way up. Don't fold forward because you're trying to stretch the top of the thigh now. All right, switch sides. However you need to do that. And I can already feel like one leg feels vastly different than the other, even though we stretched it in Virabhadrasana 1, and we stretched it in upward dog, and we stretched it in the dog split. So here you can see that this is my hip coming forward. It takes a little bit of the stretch out of the back leg. So I move that hip back, like you're trying to pull your knee into your hip. Yes, this is very nice if you have a wall rope because you can reach up and grab the wall rope. I did this yesterday. I was using the wall ropes. But unfortunately, not everyone has wall ropes. All right, push your hips back towards the wall, however high is appropriate for your quadricep. Either on the blocks or not on the blocks. I don't quite reach the wall, but I'm getting there. So this is actually what this is like is a half Supta Virasana. If my arms were out, this is what Supta Virasana would look like in the bottom leg. It's a little easier for me than Supta Virasana because it doesn't put as much weight on the ankle. But it might be harder for you. All right, now shift your hips forward. And and then come up. All right, the next pose we're gonna do is Paragasana, which means couch. I'm gonna use a blanket, a little blanket for my ankles. So I just roll the end of a blanket here. I'll show you the whole pose, but most of you won't need this. It's not a problem with your ankles. It's gonna be a problem with your quad, so I'll show you how to do that. And then I sit in Virasana. So as long as my ankles are supported, I can sit on the floor. And you might be down a little bit further than you were before. And if you're floating, this is where these kinds of poses, the more advanced we get in the poses, it becomes like a prop fest because, you know, we have different issues. We might have issues with our knees in this pose. So rather than going into a prop fest, if you can't sit down like this, then you're gonna have your legs straight. And then you'll have 2 blocks behind you. If your legs are straight, this is harder. So you might need to be on the medium height and the low height. You want the head block to be lower than the shoulder block. So I press my hands down and lift my chest. I bring that first block right between my shoulder blades. And then the second block is for my head. And right now I have to extend my arms like this or hold them like this just because of my shoulder injury. But normally the hands are interlocked and resting on that, or the arms are interlocked and resting on that block. So this is version 1. Version 2, usually you can go up a little higher because you start out higher, actually, is the reason. So it's like this. This is more classic. Block between the shoulder blades, head block. Also this one I can take the head block over like this. If your legs are straight, keep them active. If your legs are bent, it's harder to keep active. So the thighs are pressing down. Toes are up. There you go, Chad. All right. If it's too hard on your neck, then make the blocks the same height. That will help. But in back bends, your head has actually gone back. So also where it hits you in the shoulder blades makes a big difference. So if you're feeling fairly uncomfortable, move the block between the shoulder blades. I find this extremely comfortable, but all right. Bob, can you bring your knees a little closer together? That's good. Yeah, that's good enough. Yeah. So it's not Supta Virasana, even if you can do the Supta Virasana. It's Paragasana. Toes up, Jaya. Roll them in. Roll your legs in, Jaya. Jaya. Yes. All right. Come up. Stretch your legs out. Press your knees into the floor. Spread your toes. Sometimes that Virasana needs to get the blood back into the legs. upward facing dog. So we did upward facing dog earlier, but we did it through Namaskar, so it was kind of, it can be a little messy that way, especially for me, because I don't really like this pose. So you're gonna lie down on your belly. If you know you need blocks for upward facing dog, go ahead and get blocks. If you don't know, try blocks and see what you think. Then you're gonna lie down on your belly between the blocks if you're using them, between your hands if you're not, either way. Either way, I guess it's between your hands. Point your feet back with your feet hip width apart. So Cobra has the legs together, if possible. Upward facing dog has the legs back. We're gonna, we've already done it a couple times, so we're gonna start with the toes back, or the toes pointed. So you're gonna be on the tops of your feet. Now bring your hands either side of your lower ribs and roll your shoulders back. Try to bring your shoulder blades together behind your back, elbows in. Now make your legs strong by lifting your quadriceps up. Press your feet into the floor. And then with your next exhalation, press your hands down, straighten your arms, and lift your body off the floor. Now try to bring your shoulder blades towards each other again. Marsha, you can do Cobra if this is too much. Roll your shoulders back. If someone was yanking a ponytail behind you, take that back. So rather than this, take it back. And then come down. Actually, one way to think of this is if you're trying to give yourself a double chin. So if you went like this. So start upward facing dog this next time by bringing your chin back and giving yourself a double chin. And then, so we'll start there, rolling the shoulders back, and then look up. More traditional, okay? So next one, lie on your belly, lie prone. Hands by the lower ribs. Roll your shoulders back. Bring your elbows towards each other, shoulders coming towards each other. Keep that as much as possible. Press your legs into the floor, lift your quadriceps up. Inhale, with your next exhale, straighten your arms. And then bring back any shoulder loss that you had. So the shoulders tend to roll forward and the legs drop. Roll your shoulders back. Then pull your chin back, give yourself a double chin. And then look up and get rid of that double chin. And come down, rest. Now come to kneeling. All right. We're going for camel pose, Ustrasana. So if you have a bolster and you know that your heels are a long way away, you can put the bolster on your heels. You can also put a blanket. You don't have to. If you know you can reach your heels, don't worry about it. So you're just pushing your heels down into the ground. But the bolster just gives you a little more lift for when you come up. So kneel up. Your legs are not together, they're in line with your hips. You could have your legs together. Eventually you might have your legs together. That's a fairly deep back bend to do that. All right, pull your abdomen in. Move the tops of your thighs forward. Then put your hands on your hips, elbows back. Bring your shoulder blades towards each other. Then give yourself a double chin. And lift your chest up. Put your chest up by pushing down on your hips. Push your feet into the floor. Put your chest higher. Keep your double chin. Move your thighs forward, take your abdomen back. Thighs forward, abdomen back. Keep taking your abdomen back, lifting your chest up. And then arch over to your heels or the bolster or whatever you have. Keep the double chin for the first one. So you can look at your chest and see your chest lifting. Abdomen pulling back, chest lifting, thighs moving forward. And then press through your feet, inhale, come back up. And sit back down on your heels. Take a breath. All right, let's do it again. Kneel up. Bring your hands to your hips. Roll your shoulders back. Press down on your hips, lift your chest up. Move your thighs forward. As your thighs come forward, take your abdomen back. Chest lifts towards your chin. And so your chin is kind of like in a shoulder stand position. So your chest is coming up towards your chin, and your chin is just kind of sitting there. All right, thighs forward. Abdomen back, thighs forward, abdomen back, lift your chest more and more and more. We'll start to lean back from your abdomen, reach back for your heels or the bolster. And then if your neck feels comfortable, keep that chin tucked in, but slowly take your head back. And you'll notice that my voice changed quite a bit from the chin tucked in to the head going back. If you're having trouble breathing here, it's time to come up. Otherwise, stay for a few moments. Then press through your feet. Inhale, come all the way up. All right. Now back to your belly for Dhanurasana. So this is very similar to camel pose. This is bow pose, so you bend your knees, you grab your feet, and you lift up. So if you had trouble getting your feet in Ustrasana, then chances are you will also have trouble getting your feet in Dhanurasana. So you take a lasso, well, not a real lasso, a strap, and you can put it around your feet. Now, ideally, you might want to pull, I'm going to turn to the side so you can see what I'm doing, like this. So this way I have a strap on each foot rather than this, because when you have the strap like this, it brings the feet together and the knees apart. So if we hold each foot with its own little loop, it works a little better. If you don't need the strap, don't use the strap. I'm just going to show with the strap the first time. All right. Now here, you can't really take your abdomen back, but you don't want to push your abdomen into the floor, but lift your legs, lift your chest, and pull on your legs with your arms, kick your arms with your legs, and you're up in Dhanurasana. All right, come down. Rest. One more time. This time I'm going to just watch. So you're going to do, I'm going to watch. Bend your knees. Grab your feet, grab the strap. All right. Then lift up. Lift your chest off the floor, lift your legs off the floor. Generally, one will lift better than the other. If you're really flexible on the quads, generally your legs will lift higher. So kick into your hands, lift your chest higher, pull your legs, lift your legs higher. And then come back down. All right, sit up for a moment. If you're working on a hard floor, especially a tile floor, but even, I'm going to show this two ways, I guess. I'll show it from the front and then I'll show it from the side. You might want a blanket. So we're going to do Parshva Dhanurasana, which is one of my favorite poses. So I lift up and then I lean. So first with my head's heavy. Everyone's head's heavy. I lean and start to come over to the side. You just keep coming. And then with the top arm and leg, I kick. And that will give me a better stretch. Oh, this is foolish to do it on top of a blanket. But anyway, I lean, I come over to the side, and then I kick. All right? Parshva Dhanurasana. The reason I like this pose so much is because it's a stretchy pose rather than a working pose. I like to stretch. All right, so lie on your belly, grab your feet. All right, if you get stuck, you might have to take your opposite arm and push yourself over. All right, so lift up, roll to your right, use your head or your opposite arm and your left arm pushing into the ground. That'll help you roll over. There you go. And then kick into the top arm. Give yourself a little more stretch in the shoulder, in the back. Come back to center. Lift up. Over to the other side. Kick. And come back to center. Lift up. And come down. All right. So I'm going to show two different, I'm going to show something very silly, and you can try it. I think it's a lot of fun, but, or you can do, you can say, I'm done, and do Chaturpadasana. So if you look at this shape, it's very much like this shape. So you just roll and you keep rolling. Those are your choices. Either roll the floor or kitty, or Chaturpadasana. So it's easier to start in Chatush than it is in Dhanurasana. Yeah. That's fun, huh? Very difficult with animals around to do. Okay. Come back to center, lower your hips down, and rest. All right, so again, your choice is to do Setu with support, so, or Tutus with support. So that looks like this. Or you can do shoulder stand. And I haven't shown how to do this in a while, so I'm going to go ahead and show how to do it this way. I have my support, some hip lifters, and then I bring this whole thing to the wall. If you're ready to go up, you can just go up. So the whole shoulder stand setup is at the wall. And then the hardest part is actually getting into it, because you want your shoulders on the support, not on the bottom. So you have to, and you want to be really close to the wall. So here I am with my hips at the wall, my shoulders on the support. And then I hold on to the blankets, or the sticky mat, bend my knees, press my heels down, and then I can lift my hips up and be in this supported shoulder stand. This is a good way to get the verticality in shoulder stand and to keep it out of something that looks like this. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that's not how we do it in Iyengar yoga. So coming under the toes gives you verticality in the torso, so you're on your shoulders. And then once I get comfortable here, I can lift one leg or both. When you come down, it's really easy. You just place your feet on the wall and lower your hips. So I'm going to look at your shoulder stands. So in Ustrasana, I said abdomen back and thighs forward. This is the opposite. This is, well, it's not really abdomen forward, although it feels like that when you're looking at your abdomen, looking down at you. But it's thighs back, abdomen forward. Unless you're in the supported version, in which case you just want to make sure that your neck is soft, and your jaw is soft. In any version, really. And then, Sopo, if you want to challenge yourself, do that same thing and with your hands not on your back. Yeah, or just have your hands on your back, that will also work. But you'll see that that creates a lot more core work. All right, start to work your way down. Slowly. When you're ready, lift yourself back up to seated. Extend your legs forward in Dandasana. All right, reach underneath your right knee, roll your thigh back, bring your right heel in, turn towards your left leg. Grab your left leg, lift your chest, or your left foot, lift your chest. And then come forward, Janushrishasana. So press down strongly with your outer right thigh. Sometimes, no, we didn't do too intensive back bends, but sometimes with all the back bends, you can feel a little tightness in your lower back. So we're working on this pose today is really for that area of the lower back, so one side at a time. So you might pull your abdomen in and feel the stretch, basically between the top of your hip and your ribs. You can always have head support for this one, especially after shoulder stand or a bridge. It's really nice to have head support. Keep pressing your outer right thigh back down towards the ground as you bring your right side of your torso around toward the left. So you're trying to even out the sides of your torso. And now come back up. Stretch your right leg out. Reach underneath your left knee. Pull your leg back. Bring it in. I'm using a block for head support. Turn your torso toward your right leg. Grab a hold of your right leg wherever you need to grab it. And then fold forward over your right leg. Press down with your outer left thigh. The more you press down with your outer left thigh, the more stretch you'll feel between, when I say hip, it could be anywhere, really, anywhere in the pelvis. And then I feel it all the way down, lower sacrum, all the way up to my rib cage, lower ribs. That doesn't mean that that's where you have to feel it too, of course. Now move your torso from the left to the right. Even out the sides of your torso.
Keep pressing down with the outer left thigh. And lift yourself back up. 2 straight legs. Grab hold of your feet, or I think everyone here can grab their feet. Let's see. If you can't grab your feet, you can grab your shins and fold forward. Lift yourself up, and then lie back into Shavasana. Or whatever you do when people say Shavasana. You're not as liable in the Zoom world. Roll your shoulders under. So again, it's that bringing the shoulder blades towards each other. I have seen this overdone, but it's rare. Easy to overdo it in Shavasana. So you don't want it tight like you had it in the back bends, but too much of the time we spend with our shoulders rolled forward. So we need to roll them back when we think about it. Rest the weight of the body into the floor. Soften your neck and throat. Release your jaw. My class is over. I didn't even get through the whole thing. Deepen your breath. Bend your knees. Roll to your side. Roll a little further to your side and use your hands to lift yourself back up to seated. Take your arms wide, lift your chest. Bring your palms together in front of your heart. Think of something you're grateful for. Namaste. Thank you all for coming today. Another week on Zoom. All the kitties and puppies for coming today.